What's going on, Star Wars?
Hello there.
All right. You're going to have to bear with me for a second. We got a bunch of crazy stuff going on right now. Derek's is not working. Be late. Da-na-na. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Please. I have no idea. My electricity is out, so and Derek's stuff is not going on. So if you guys can hear me, somebody let me know, please. Jacob, I see you're on here. Hit me up. Yes, you can hear you. All right, perfect. Well, welcome. What's going on? Mike is going to be here a little bit late. Derek is able to join us, and visual is rough. Well, I can't do much about that right now. Hopefully you guys can see me. Brett, Papa Bob, Jake, Max, who else we got in here? And Jarvo, Jedi Jarvo. Thank you guys for being here. I'm not sure where you guys are at. We got hammered with an ice storm. So it's been sort of crazy here. We had electricity and then I lost it again. We do not have the internet, so that sort of stinks. Nathan, what's going on? Appreciate you joining us. Once the other guys get here, we'll be good to go. So we're going to talk a little bit about Mandalorian Grogu, Ahsoka season 2, and the Maul series. So obviously we got that, which was really cool. The trailer for that, I was really excited about that. I know we've all seen it. What's your guys' hype on that? Are you guys more excited now? Out of one, let's do 1 out of 10. 10, obviously, if you're excited. 1, if you're not. I got some questions for when the other guys get on. There's been a lot of speculation and stuff about rumors of Darth Vader showing up, and I know Mike's talked about it a little bit, and we might have on here as well. I don't think it'll be this season that we would see Darth Vader. Maybe. I think we got enough other things that'll probably be really cool and pop up here for that. So, Max, you guys got a foot of snow? Yeah. I think a lot of people got snow, from Texas all the way up through where Mike's at in Boston. I talked to some friends in Maryland. They got hammered pretty good with snow and ice. So appreciate you guys being here. Got a 10 there for the Maul series. Me too. I was psyched because it's going to be the first one out anyways. So we have, Ahsoka coming hopefully at the end of the year, and then Mandalorian and Grogu, I guess early summer, late spring, and May. So this is the first thing. I'm excited about 2 episodes. I think that's going to be cool for what we have on series. We'll be able to get like the double episodes, and then we get them each week, which will be fun, and it'll compress it into everything. Yes, obviously, I think everybody would like to have a few more episodes, but that'll bring us a couple weeks before Mandalorian and Grogu. I think that'll be a good time for a little to settle down a little bit, and then once that movie pops off, I think it's going to be insane. Where middle of summer, where I'm at. Ooh, where are you at, Papa Boz? Let's see here. I had some things here. So yeah, we have April 6th for Maul, which will be good. and then 2 episodes weekly, ending on May the 4th, which is pretty appropriate. I'm hoping that we get a Tales episode at some point. I don't know if it'll be May the 4th this time. I'd probably doubt it since we're going to end the Maul series on that. So that'll be sort of interesting to see if we get something towards the end of the in New Zealand. Nice. Okay. So anybody else excited about Maul? Let me hear it in the chat here. Let me see what you guys think about this Maul series. And then we have Ahsoka towards the end of the year, which I'm really excited about. I think the Ahsoka series and the Mando movie are going to tie together somehow. I think that'll come to fruition at some point. So, order 17. Derek's having problems with his equipment, and Mike's running late. So you got me. Only me. I have my generator out that only plugs into a few things. We have things going on upstairs. It's like in the teens here, and I had one brought down here so I could turn a light on. I don't even have my live sign on, or I can't switch my cameras or anything like that. So we're roughing it here tonight, talking about some Star Wars stuff. But get back to none of my stuff will work. Okay, well, there's Derek. So unfortunately, Derek probably will not be on tonight. Thanks, Max. I appreciate it. It's only because nobody else is on. That's why you're saying that. But I appreciate you guys joining us. And I'm going to have to switch the little ticker thing on the bottom and take Derek's name out. No, I'm just kidding. Derek, feel free to jump in here if you want, and throw some messages up there. I'm really excited to see like what they've done with it, the lightsabers. Once I see a little bit more, I think it's sort of busy with some of the stuff that's going on. But again, I think it's amazing when they show that first scene, and both the one blade opens and the other one does, and he's just blocking everything and it's going back. But I think it'll be interesting to see what this new animation looks like, and I'm really excited about that. I think we're going to get a lot of information from this series, and so we got enough people on here. So one of my things was, and I know we've all talked about this before, was some of the information that we don't have, or some of the questions that aren't up, that we don't have or get. No, there he is. Can you hear us?
I don't know.
Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Sort of. You're breaking up a little bit. Max says 6.5 for Maul. Can you hear me okay, Derek?
Yeah, it's a little scrambled.
No? Okay. But before there's Mike. Let's see if we can get Mike. Maybe Mike has.
Yeah. How about now? Can
we
you
have
hear me
to see
a
where
little bit better now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if I can hear you guys, but yeah.
Okay. Well, we can hear you.
That's okay. We can hear you better. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
So I was actually, and this is perfect timing because I wanted to sort of talk to you guys, well, everybody, but while you guys were on here, the questions we always think about, or some of the answers that we don't have, especially like for the sequels that you and I have talked about, Mike, with the whole Luke thing, and trying to answer some of these questions. And Star Wars always, well, most answers the questions, and it doesn't take very long. And I think I told you guys in our chat, myself and my son Jacob, that's been on here, we started watching Mandalorian again for, I don't know, the umpteenth time. Ice blocks on off. Yeah. And what I thought was really cool was, if you go back and you think of Mandalorian when we first started, and we don't know anything about what's going on, and in that first episode, we learned the name of the Razor Crest. We learned that he never takes his helmet off, and his ancestors ride mythosaurs. I mean, and it's just from Quill, and he's just popping these things out. So I think a lot of these things that we talk about, the normie fans not knowing when some of this new stuff comes out, Mandalorian and Grogu, or even the Maul series, because a lot of people probably still think Maul's dead, which is pretty interesting. But
Yeah.
I think that they'll be able to, especially in Maul, I think they'll be able to answer some of these questions that we're not sure about yet when we see the trailer, and like, okay, who's this and who's this, and is this going to be for and all these different things that they've done in the Tales episodes as well. So I think that we're going to get a lot of answers to the questions that we're questioning now for the Maul series, along with Ahsoka. But I just thought it was really interesting, like like in a matter of 5 minutes we find out the name of this new ship, and nobody has any idea what it is, and that they already know that he never takes his helmet off, which obviously goes all the way through all 3 seasons. They look at it, they talk about it, and whether he's going to, be a Mandalorian again or not, and then the mythosaur, so again, we're getting all these things. If you don't pay attention, and that's you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to these things that they're talking about and the things that everybody is saying. So like, it's funny when my wife went to Solo with me, I think that was one of the only ones that she went with me. She was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, you are not going to talk. You're not saying anything. Okay. I'm not answering questions. It's like, oh, no, shh, be quiet. So I think that we're going to get a lot of those answers. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think 2026 will be the year of answers, if that answers your question. I think with the big 3, and the big 3, I mean Mandalorian and Grogu, Maul, Shadow Lord, and Ahsoka season 2, they will give us a lot of answers. Ahsoka season 2 specifically because it's the second season, and season 1 gave us so many questions, specifically about like Mortis gods and stuff. But yeah, with Mandalorian and Grogu, as you mentioned before, Queel in that first season is almost like the perfect plot device to explain to the normie fans and to the fans, us included, because we didn't really know who these characters were at first, what's going on. Like, you need that character that's almost explaining to us, the audience, what's happening here. And I think for Maul Shadow Lord, that will be the police officer. He'll be like, crime is running rampant on this planet. Maul showed up and I got to take him down. Like, he will be the explanation guy. And for the Mandalorian and Grogu, maybe it'll be Stinky the Hutt. No, I don't know. It could be Sigourney Weaver or something. I don't know. But yeah, you definitely need that sort of character, or an opening crawl for the Mandalorian and Grogu that could explain what's happening. But you're absolutely right. I think 2026 will give us a ton of answers to cliffhangers or unanswered questions that we have with the Star Wars timeline, specifically with Maul, because he's got this giant 15 to 17 year gap in his story that we're going to get to explore in a couple months.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be coming up to in the Maul series, and that can roll right into the next thing. What have you guys heard or seen this Darth Vader thing that everybody thinks that he's going to be fighting Darth Vader?
Yeah, it's a common theory, just because we want it to happen. It would be nice. A lot of Inquisitors are in the trailer. If it's multi-seasons, talking like 3, 4, 5 seasons, then I'm assuming that they'll keep Vader for a later season. As soon as Maul starts slicing and dicing Inquisitors, Palpatine's going to have to, up the ante and start sending other people. But yeah, I hope we get a Maul versus Vader. That'll be epic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would turn that down, would they?
No, and I think well, and I think so too, but I don't think it'll be the first season. And that was my thing. And everybody was like, looking at the trailer going, oh, the Inquisitors and this and that, and the Emperor wants you dead. So obviously it's interesting that he sends the Inquisitors instead of Vader. So is Vader off doing something else during that time? So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I don't think we'll see Vader in this first season. And I think it'll be an interesting, and we know no matter what battle it is, they both survive.
You know
Or
what's
do
really
you think
interesting?
we'll? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yes, you're absolutely right about that. They'll both definitely survive. But you know what's really interesting when you were talking about that? Where is Vader during this time? Because it's right after Order 66 by about a year. Master of Evil, the book that we all just read, it takes place shortly after the events of Order 66, right where this show takes place. So that kind of
Yeah.
explains where Vader is at this moment. It takes a little bit of time, I suppose, for Palpatine to unveil the Sith Lord. It's not like a right away Vader's everywhere, and I don't think Palpatine's ever really taken Maul that seriously anyway. Like in the Clone Wars, he kind of just lets him do his own thing until he becomes too big of an issue, and then he goes and takes him out himself. So I think he'll send some Inquisitors just to sort of mess with them, and then go from there. So yeah, Vader's probably later on.
I could even see like the last
Yeah. And
episode.
Yeah, it being the big final battle, and you have to too
Yeah.
remember that in Rebels, when Maul shows back up, he's frightened, like absolutely terrified of Vader when he comes to Malachor 5. So it would make sense that these two have had a altercation before. He knows that he's Anakin, I suppose. He knows that he's, or maybe he doesn't know, but he knows that Anakin was groomed to be his master's apprentice. So I'm guessing he knows. But either way, he's terrified of him. He doesn't really have a reason right now to be terrified of Anakin or Vader. So there would have to be something that happened between the two of them that would make him that scared of Vader by the time of Rebels.
well, that's my thing too, because I think don't the Inquisitors are scared of Maul, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
If why they would be scared of Maul, but they already know who Vader is, obviously. So it'll
Yeah.
be I thought that's sort of interesting that he's scared of Vader, but all the Inquisitors are scared of him.
Yeah, it does show the power dynamic in the galaxy. Like Maul, he's nowhere close to Palpatine or Vader, like not even close, but he's still way more powerful than the Inquisitors. It's sort of like a tier list. You got Luke, Anakin, Palpatine, Yoda up at the top. Then the next tier down is like your Mauls, your Ahsokas, your, I guess I'd say Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan kind of swings towards that top one too. But then that's your second tier. And then below that is the Inquisitors and is others. Like in Rebels, Ahsoka's absolutely slicing and dicing Inquisitors. And I think her and Maul are on a very similar power level stage.
Yeah, but I also think a little bit different too is that Maul is like he's the fighter. He has the fighting ability. And
Yeah.
sorry, I'm trying to like dial in my microphone. It is
No,
all
you're
messed
good.
up. I apologize.
No, you're absolutely right.
Good.
He's not a Force user per se. Well, he uses the Force, but he's more so a warrior and a fighter. Absolutely, a swordsman. Whereas other people are not, specifically Vader. But getting to see a Vader Maul showdown, it's pretty much written in stone. At some point in this show, we'll get that. I just think, like you guys said, it'll be saved for the last moment. It'll be saved for the final battle.
Yeah, well, and it could even be, I think, Max said that it could be a cliffhanger. All of a sudden, Maul, and
Yeah.
then we have this. All of a sudden, Vader just shows up, and that's the end. And we're all going,
Yeah.
"You freaking kidding me?"
Yeah,
But I mean, it's a way to get you to season 2.
that's true. Yeah, the cool thing I like
Oh,
about Maul
absolutely.
and what has me more excited for Maul than even I was for like the Bad Batch or anything, it's that season 1 doesn't have to be like introductions to all these characters and getting to know them. We already know these people. Yes, there's some new characters like this Twi'lek apprentice girl, but we already know Rook Cast. We already know Darth Maul. We already know these Inquisitors. We know them all. So there doesn't have to be a season or 2 of filler episodes to get to know these characters, to have emotional connections to these characters, and then we can get into the good stuff. Because I'm watching Rebels right now, and I love Rebels. Rebels season 1 is great. It's all just setting up those characters. It's all getting relationships between each individual character. Ezra with Zeb, Ezra with Sabine, Ezra with Hera, Ezra with Kanan. That's the entire first season, and even some of season 2. But once you get past that, once you've already dialed in on who these characters are and why you should feel for them, then it's just incredible the rest of the way. And there's no filler, and it's just all killer. And Maul can start from there. It can start from the end of season 2 of Rebels. We already know these characters, and it can just be 10 episodes of awesomeness. We don't need the filler stuff, which is great.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, we're still we might not have a lot of filler stuff, but we can get answers very quickly. Like you said, the police officer, he can talk about this or this or this, or the Jedi Master can talk about this new apprentice and give us a little background on both of them, and we'll still be able to catch up. But yeah, absolutely, we already have a big background on most of this stuff, and probably some of the places that we're going to go. The ships that we're going to see, we're going to have a lot of knowledge already in this stuff because we've seen it before. And I think that's what the cool part is they can just sort of jump right into this. In comic books, not everybody's going to read these comic books, but I'm sure the three of us and everybody are going to and read them and figure out sort of a little bit more of what's going on if we want to know about the sheriff or the police officer and Two Boots and what dynamic they have together. And obviously, if you're going to have the three of them in a comic book, they already know who he is. They already know who Maul is by the time the series starts. So I think that'll be interesting. And I think we'll be able to get right into the meat and potatoes and have 5 weeks, 10 episodes just of rocking and rolling and figuring out, what has been going on in the last few years with Maul.
Now, the big question I'm going to have with this show is, are they going to make it kind of like Rebels and Clone Wars, where there is a lot of backstory? They're filling in a lot of those gaps like you guys were talking about? Or is this going to be straight up for the fans, like the real Star Wars fans? To me, anything that's going to Disney Plus is probably going to have a decent amount of filler. But I could almost see, maybe with the new direction of the studio and having, Kathleen gone, that maybe they don't do as much filler stuff. Maybe they just kind of start running. Like, enough about Maul, and if you don't, jump in.
Yeah, I almost think that Maul, in a way, is more of like an extended Tales. Like, Tales is just 6 episodes, very, very short, but none of it's filler. It's just one specific story that they're telling. And I think when they got to Maul, they were like, we can make a whole series about Maul that can just be awesome the entire time. So I don't think there needs to be any filler, like you said. And yes, usually Disney Plus stuff has it, but if you look back in recent past, The Mandalorian needed filler. Like I said, it's new characters. You're getting to know them, all that stuff. But in recent past, you've had The Acolyte, no filler episodes. You've had Andor Season 2, no filler episodes. You've had Ahsoka, no filler episodes. So they've gone away from that, specifically with the live action. I know this is animation, but even, I guess, the later seasons of the Bad Batch. Bad Batch Season 3 has 0 filler episodes. Like, that is all just greatness. So I hope you're right, and I hope they stick away from that. Absolutely. That'd be great.
I'm going to do an Acolyte counter.
Acolyte? Is that what you put the time in there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
How long can we go? And of course, my favorite thing to talk about, but I'm not going to say it yet, so we'll leave that out. It'll pop up at some point.
Yeah. Well, my question to you guys, too,
I
is...
agree with you, Mike. I think...
Oh.
I was just going to say I agree with you because I think there's not going to be a lot of filler stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my question for you guys, though, is this release schedule. 2 episodes, 10 episodes total, 2 a week. It's not like anything they've ever done with the animation side of things. They did just do it with Andor Season 2, which was 3 episodes a week for 4 weeks, which was a nightmare for me as a content creator. But what do you guys think of the 2 episode per week?
Well, how long are the episodes going to be?
I'm assuming like Rebels or Bad Batch, where they're just going to be the 20 to 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes.
Could they possibly be longer or shorter? I mean, I know that's so vague. Like, they could be longer, they could be shorter. I don't know, but like we know what they're styled after. But like, could they be either of those?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pulling up the Bad Batch right now to check the run times. Yeah, so the Bad Batch, you're looking at 33, 27, 28, 28, 27, 28, 25, 28, 27, 26, 24. I think it'll be around this same spot.
I
Like
think so,
anywhere
too.
from 23 to 35. So you're talking
Nope.
about getting like, oh, we got 2 Rons.
We got 2 Rons.
It's getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
That was the best. Oh no, we got some echoing. Okay, let's see if that's any better.
Aha.
Okay, let's see if that's any. Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Oh. All these storms hate us right now.
I know. All the snow, it's absolutely insane. But I will say, I think this, if it's 25 to 30 minutes per episode, you're getting an hour a week. It's pretty much just an hour long.
Oh, there it goes again. Yeah, I think it's Ron's mic. I don't know if you can hear it.
Ron.
I
love talking. I hate hearing myself talk. Going back to Max Rebo, by the way, saying the fat and skinny guy from Rebels, they were annoying, but they get their heads chopped off by the Grand Inquisitor. Yeah, so run times, I think, aren't really going to be an issue. There's always the fans that argue it's never enough or it's not long enough. They're never satisfied, even if it's 2 or 3 hour long episodes. Doesn't matter. But it's the content inside. So if it's 10 episodes of just straight banger, then I'm all for it. The 2 episode thing, I get they want to do it before the 4th and before the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
But why not start it earlier? You know?
I mean, I was also thinking, and even on timelines, it's not like Mando just showed up, and with everything leading up, could he like make a weird appearance in Maul?
Interesting. Huh.
And so this is my bold prediction that I don't think it'll be a big part, but I think there's a chance that he could show up.
I like that theory because in the Bad Batch, we got Fennec Shand. And we got Fennec in live action first, and then we came back and did her in animation. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, because Din Djarin, he's on the younger side, but he's probably around the same. Actually, how old is he? Let's find out.
It would make sense. And if you think of like the first season and all the stuff that was happening, and people are like, people know him.
Yeah.
He's known.
Yeah. So it says he's estimated to be in his late 30s to early 40s. So he would be probably late teens at this point. So he could definitely be around. Mm-hmm. And he's a foundling, so he'd be a Mandalorian. That would be awesome. I'd be fully down for that. Interestingly enough, Mandalore would still be like the Empire just took over. So Mandalore would be in the chaos that it is by the time of Rebels, where we see Sabine fighting for Mandalore too. This is all before it gets turned to glass, which is, what eventually happens. I'd be down for it. A crazy Din Djarin appearance would be awesome. And it would hype up the movie, which is in a month after it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we didn't get any info about Maul until we did.
I like that.
So and maybe like I said, we're probably gonna find out.
Yes,
a little bit. I still think we're gonna get some kind of big reveal for the Super Bowl. The only thing I'm worried about is I'm gonna be on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean, and it's the Nate Bargatze cruise, and they said they're gonna put the game on and have the pools open. Normally, those things I do, they don't have the pools open, or they have one, but not both. But we're gonna be able to watch the Super Bowl in the pool, but we don't know if we're getting commercials because we're international waters. So, so we have no idea. So, like, if that happens, I need all of you to leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, because I can get your messages, but leave me alone. You can be like, oh my God, that was amazing. I'm like, no.
That's crazy. I mean, the Mando trailer would be great. Super Bowl is the most likely place for it. I will throw in one crazier person that's also in the name of that movie. What about a Grogu appearance in the Maul Shadow Lord series?
Oh,
Now, here's
Oh.
why it's not impossible, because we see Grogu get taken by Keller and Beck for Order 66, where he gets rescued from the Jedi Temple. There, him and Kelleran take off in a Naboo cruiser, a Nubian cruiser, and that's all we know. We see Grogu about 25 years later, and he's captured by pirates, and he's not wielding the Force anymore. It's not like he's been hanging out with a Force user. It sounds a little crazy, but where Kelleran is, that's probably where Quinlan Vos is. Where Quinlan Vos is probably the hidden path. We're talking about this underworld side of protecting Jedi. And if we're talking about possibly getting an appearance of like Asajj Ventress or something, then why not Grogu?
Can you believe Mace Windu was in the trailer? Thank you, Max Rebo. Now that would be funny if you guys just spam me with fake news.
That would be awesome. Yeah, the first text I'm going to send you is be like, Din Djarin dies in the trailer.
This is going to be bad. This is going to be so bad.
You'll never know what it truly is.
Unless I actually do get commercials, but I kind of have a feeling I won't.
You guys hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hello. Okay. All right. My opinion is I don't think we'll see either one of them in Maul. I think we'd have a better off, depending on what the timeline is for Mandalorian and Grogu and Ahsoka. I think we have a better chance of seeing one of them in Ahsoka before we see one of them in animation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Not that I wouldn't love to see that, but
yeah, it'd have to be a young Din Djarin, and I think, like, do we even have time for that? 10 episodes. The more likely scenario would be you'd see some bounty hunters. That's my thing. At first, I feel like maybe Palpatine would send bounty hunters after Maul first, before he sends even Inquisitors, because there'd be like a sort of a level to it. Start with bounty hunters, they don't work. Then Inquisitors, they don't work. And then we get to Vader. I think that could be possible. And if you're talking bounty hunters, you could see some very familiar faces, not just Din Djarin, but like Boba Fett, Bosk. Like, you could get some really cool people in there. People that don't really get too much screen time in other places. So I'd be down for that, especially a Boba Fett connection where we haven't seen Boba Fett on screen for a while. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Bounty hunters?
I think, yes, I definitely think bounty hunters, but I think we'll see bounty hunters that we've already seen in animation. I don't think we'll see a Boba Fett. I think we could see a Bosk.
Yeah.
I think we could see a Dangar, because we haven't really seen him besides, Empire. So you could put him in animation. I just think it would be not confusing, but I think it would just be a little bit different if we see a Mando or a Grogu or a Boba Fett in there that we haven't seen in animation yet.
Well, we have seen Boba Fett in animation in the Clone Wars. He's really young, but he's still there. That's why I think we could see him, is because he's already been with the others in that, like, Aura Singh stuff. Even Cad Bane, because him and Cad have had that backstory. And Cad Bane was just in Tales of the Underworld last year. And I think Tales of the Underworld has been set up for something bigger, not just for Asajj, but for Cad Bane too. So I
assumed that we would see Cad Bane.
Yeah, Cad Bane's also in the Bad Batch, so he's around at this time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think we'll see both of them.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we could see both of them in this.
I would love that. Asajj. Oh, okay. So somebody brought this up to me in my Discord, which just blew my freaking mind. The lightsaber that Maul has during his tea ceremony in the trailer, the lightsaber that's just laying there, it's not his double-bladed one. Well, it's actually like half of it or whatever, but it's only one singular lightsaber hilt. That lightsaber that's sitting right next to him in the tea ceremony is pretty much, with very tiny coloration errors, the exact same lightsaber that Asajj Ventress has in the Dark Disciple novel. Oh. How the hell did Darth Maul get that?
That's interesting.
We don't know what happened to Asajj's lightsaber after she dies and then gets brought back to life, because she ends up with the bent hilt again. That's where we see her with the Bad Batch. But how, like, if that's the case, it's clear, like, it's not like, oh, it looks kind of simple. It's like the exact same hilt. It's really weird.
I think that could be cool. I think we could see a lot of that type of stuff. And I think, like you said, with the Baines, the Cad Bane stuff and the Asajj stuff, they're building that stuff up, and and it was animation. So for them to put that in, for the two of them to come into the Maul series, I think would be very, very easy to put them in. I think they're right up the same alley, obviously, as he is. And I think, we don't see Asajj or what happens to her lightsaber, like you said, but where would he get it? But like we were talking about at the beginning, all these questions can be answered in a sentence. All he has to say when he's talking to this young girl, this new apprentice, hey, blah, 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 whatever. Here's a lightsaber that I got from, however I'm not in storytelling, but however they lay this storyline out in reference to how he got that, what happened to Asajj, maybe who she is. I mean, that's 2 or 3 sentences, and boom, we're caught up.
True. That's true. Yeah, I think a lot of explanation needs to happen for Maul before. For example, when Palpatine comes and kills his brother and takes him from Mandalore, and then the next time we see him, he's just free. Now, there's, of course, the Sons of Dathomir comics, but for most people who don't read those, you're going to need some explanation to that. And telling us in a flashback or even an explanation, like you said, it could just be a 1-line or 2-line explanation. What happened there? Like, how did he escape and what happened? Like, you could be talking to Rook Cast or his Maul-Delorians and be like, you guys rescued me from Palpatine in the clutches of the Empire. Like, that would explain it. Or we could even get a flashback to that, which would be great too. I also wanted to point out to you guys something else here, if I can find it really quickly. Sam Witwer himself, the man, the myth, the legend, the voice of Darth Maul, posted on Twitter, the X. He said, where the hell is it? One thing. Hang on. Oh, found it. In 2008, Best Friends got to play Best Friends. Speaking of him and David Collins, who are best friends off screen. And in 2008, he was talking about Force Unleashed, where he plays Starkiller and his best friend or his droid, Proxy.
And then he saw this.
So, and then he goes on to say, in 2026, we do it again. And he even says that David Collins will be playing Spybot in Maul Shadowlord. And to my knowledge, there is no character named Spybot in the trailer. And as Sam Witwer describes it, they're supposed to be best friends in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost feels like this trailer did give us a lot of information, but none at all.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that interview too.
Trailer.
Oh, totally.
True.
I watched that interview a little bit too, and then also talking about like how Starkiller fought Anakin and Vader.
Yes.
It's like, whoa,
yeah,
that's right.
That's crazy. So clearly, they got us hyped up for Maul Shadowlord. Lucasfilm was always really good at making trailers, but they didn't tell us everything. They didn't show us his best friend Spybot because we don't even know who that is. And he's being voiced by David Collins, so that's always great to see. And Maul having a best friend that's, not this young Twi'lek girl and not Rook Cast and not like other people. Like, who is this guy?
I'd be Maul's best friend. I think he's pretty cool, dude.
A little bit of a temper, but
Hey. That's perspective.
Do you guys think that sorry, I guess I'm a little delayed, but
yeah, you're
think that we're going to see in Collins, because we haven't seen anything on him yet in reference to a speaking part, right? There's nothing on the internet that says that he's in this movie, so that'll be interesting when it comes to fruition to see who he plays, because obviously, I didn't with Starkiller, with Proxy.
Oh, yeah.
What is that timeline?
So Starkiller is Legends, so it doesn't really matter. it's the Force Unleashed games that they'll never really come to. As many fans would love Starkiller to come to canon, it's never gonna happen. But his droid,
Kathleen's gone.
It's not gonna happen. His droid companion, his droid companion / best friend type deal was this droid named Proxy. He just helped him. He tried to kill him a million different ways, but it was training. And now they do it again with this spy bot character. So it could be like Maul just has a proxy type droid that's gonna try and kill him in this Maul series, which would be cool. Like, it would be a cool nod to Starkiller, and it'd be a cool nod to the game. We've already gotten a nod to the game with the trailer, with the throwing of the lightsaber and all that stuff. So I would like it. But yeah, I mean, as Ron just said, we did not know that David Collins had a role in this show, or what that role would be, until Sam Witwer tweeted about it after the trailer dropped. So
Derek, you might be older. Did you ever see the Pink Panther movie with the action? So, and he always had that guy that would try to kick his ass when he walked into a room, and his training partner, which it just made me think that when you were talking about this proxy, because that's what this character did, and I forget what it was, but he was this little ninja dude that would jump out of the closet and try to beat up Clouseau, when he wasn't expecting it, and it just made me think that
very similar,
talking about Proxy. And yeah.
So with Proxy too, Proxy would change what he looked like, and so that was where in that interview he was talking about Proxy turned into Anakin, which means that he had to have had experience with Anakin, and because he had all the record of all the Jedi or something.
Yeah,
is that how it went, Mike?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So poor Ron. Ron's on Hoth right now. Poor guy. But yeah, so he's absolutely right. It was very much like Proxy was there to try to kill him, to make him stronger. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, that'd be so cool, especially if it was like almost a canon version of that. We've gotten so many canon versions of certain characters, and we assume that with this Twilight Apprentice and Maul and all this, this is going to be a very much a canon version of George Lucas's ideas for the sequel trilogy. So if you add that to a little bit of Starkiller and Force Unleashed stuff, that would be awesome. It all signs to me about this Maul Shadow Lord series just make me think that this is just what the fans want. They're giving it to us on a silver platter. They're like, here, take this. You wanted George Lucas's sequel trilogy? Have that. You want a little canon Darth Talon? How about that? You can't get Starkiller. He's too good, but we'll give you little inklings of him and little callbacks to him. That'd be great.
You want Mara Jade? Here you go.
Write it down. 43 minutes. Yeah.
Does it count if I say it though?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say
I'll never mention her again. No,
okay. That's a lie.
Never again. But yeah, it's got me excited for Maul Shadow Lord. Absolutely. I mean, everything that we've gotten, not just the trailer, but everything else along with it, is really, really cool. Who's behind it? Brad Rao, who made the Bad Batch, or was the head guy behind the Bad Batch, and the writer Matt Micknovitz. So Matt Micknovitz wrote a bunch of different Clone Wars arcs and stuff, but he wrote the Umbara arc, which is great. But he also was the head writer on Jedi Fallen Order, was the head writer on the scrapped Maul arc that became the Son of Dathomir comic. He was the head writer on Tales of the Underworld, which is even more credence to Cad Bane and Asajj coming to this show. And he was the head writer on the canceled 1313 game, which was going to be all about the Underworld. And yeah, so the guy has this is his era. This is his time in this timeline. All those projects take place in this 10 to 15 year time gap in between the prequels and the originals.
Well, and to have someone like him on this project, like you just said, it gives you more of a percentage where you're going to see some of these things that we just talked about, like an Asajj or a Cad Bane, because he's worked on this stuff before. He's worked on the tail stuff. He's got the knowledge for it. Obviously he's, doing some, I'm sure they all sitting around in a room just like everything else. And maybe there's one person that's the writer, but everybody's going to put their 2 cents in there. And when you have someone like him talking about that and saying, hey, this is what I have, this story, we can bring in Asajj, which will go with this. And, so I think those are the great things about Star Wars and about Dave, for him to bring people in like this, because he was already, in charge of creative. And even before he was in charge of creative, he was still, somebody that people went and talked to and asked about, hey, should we do this? Should we do that? Because obviously he was George's right-hand man. So Dave, again, this brings us back to, him getting promoted to co-president. That's a great thing for him to do, because now he can bring these people in here that he knows and what's going on. And that's just more kudos to him to have all that.
Yeah. I mean, Dave's not going to be as hands-on with stuff like Maul Shadow Lord, but he's going to be involved, and he's going to be the guy who they can throw stuff off of, specifically because he's the one who brought him back with George Lucas in the Clone Wars. So he knows as much as anybody about the character. Absolutely.
Now, how much do you think the effect of Kathleen being gone is having on these shows? Because obviously they knew this is in the works. This isn't just something that just happened. And maybe you guys covered this before. But like, are these shows going to be vastly different?
I don't know about vastly different. I think it's been a slow transfer of power. Like over the last 1 or 2 years, you've seen Dave Filoni step into the limelight, where Kathleen Kennedy has taken a step back. At Star Wars Celebration, Dave Filoni was not hosting panels, but he was pretty much on stage all the time, and Kathleen just wasn't. Even before that, at like D23s and stuff, like, he has been the face of Lucasfilm for quite some time, even though they've just been waiting, I guess, to officially give him the reins. I think this has been something that's been in the works for quite some time. Do I think there'll be a drastic shift in content moving forward? I don't think it's going to be drastic, but it will be a shift nonetheless. I don't know how big of a shift, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like if the content starts to really change quickly, or if it's like after these 3.
Yeah,
because it's going to change. Like I will put big money that it is not going to be the same.
Yeah. Well, it is the year of Dave Filoni. With the 3 projects that come out this year, he's connected to all of them in a very, very major way. So even if Kathleen was still in charge when these projects were made, he's still heavily involved in 2 of them, and he wrote and directed 1 of them. So it's still going to be very Dave Filoni in 2026.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference, because I think that the 2 of them have been working together, and as much slack as she's gotten and as much hate and all that other stuff, like we've talked about before, we think she's done a great job, and she did a great job before she got that position. But I think, like you're saying, the 2 of them have been working together on all of these things. He maybe was, the guy under, saying, bringing this stuff to her, saying, hey, what do you think? And she's okay in it. So I don't think there's going to be that much difference when Dave takes over. I think it'll stay about the same. I think that we're going to get some good stuff, which again, we all 3 of us and everybody here thinks, or most of the people here think, that this stuff's been good coming out. Again, Acolyte, things like that. Hopefully we'll get more things like that. I think that Dave and Kathleen have been working together side by side, and for the past few years it's been leaning more a little bit on Dave, but she still has to have her 2 cents and put it in there. But I think they've both been working together on all of these things. But because she was president, she's the one that gets shit on when people don't like it, or that didn't go this way, or this guy's birthday was different for this, and all this other stuff. So I think we're still going to obviously get fantastic content out of it, and I don't think it'll switch up that much. I think people aren't going to be able to blame Kathleen Kennedy, and I also think that they're going to bite their tongue. Some people won't, but I think a lot of people are going to bite their tongue and not bash Dave if they don't like it.
I agree with that. I do, however, think it will be a pretty decent change because, I mean, historically with any company, when you have a big figurehead that's been there for a long time that leaves, a lot gets shaken up. Even at Disney, look at what happened at Disney when Iger left and Chapek came in, and I mean the changes that happen. I mean, and I've had my theories on the Disney side of things on different podcasts on what that really was. But they made some massive changes and really bad ones, and that's what happens when you have the changing of the guard. And I mean, do I think it'll be so different that we won't recognize Star Wars? No. But will there be some risks that are taken? Yes, because just like Ron said, I think people will bite their tongue a little bit. And so for the first couple years, they're going to have a little bit longer leash where people are going to be like, oh, well, Dave did it. He had his hand in it. It's good, right? Like if the Acolyte got released, if the Acolyte got released 2 years from now, would it be a different response?
Maybe. I mean, the Acolyte had a lot more of just the publicity to it and the interviews. But to your point, I think actually the bigger shift, because yes, there will be a shift, but the bigger shift will be when Disney gets a new CEO, because that's supposed to, the biggest rumor is that next month is when that's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, when Iger's gone, whoever takes over from that, like now a lot has come out recently that said, like, specifically with the Hunt for Ben Solo, that was all Bob Iger said no. So it's more, yes, Dave can do what he wants, but as long as he gets the approval from the top dog, which is the CEO of Disney. So if the CEO of Disney's changing, then that's going to be a drastic change, not just for Star Wars, but for all of Disney IPs, but for Star Wars as well.
Right. And there's a lot going on at Disney. You know, I was just next to Disneyland. I didn't actually get to go in. I had plans on it, but I was way too busy. But I did go to downtown Disney and I checked out the Star Wars store. So that was really good. Yeah, the Star Wars store was great. I got to check out some of the Legacy blades. Love it. Can't go wrong with that. Got to see some new merch. But yeah, I didn't get to go to Galaxy's Edge, but I've got some more trips out there planned for work and different things like that. So I will hit that up.
Nice.
Promise.
Yeah. I mean, a big shift. January has been a crazy year for Star Wars, but I think February is going to see a shift for Disney's CEO, and it's going to be a huge shift for Disney and Star Wars. But that, as you say, won't take its effect until like 2 years from now, because stuff's already filmed, stuff's already done, stuff's already happened. So it's already in the works. Like that's the old regime, so to speak. So now you're going to see that shift, but it's not going to happen for a couple of years until we see like 2028 or maybe even 2027. But yeah.
Now, Mike, I'm going to say this, and I don't want to say it. And this has nothing to do with Star Wars, but it does have something to do with Disney. I will be in Florida next week.
Where you're going. I know where you're going with this.
I will be in Florida next week. And there has been 3 times when I was near Disney World or at Disney World when a certain team that Ron and I both despise, I got to see them in the parade at Disney World. If that happens, I'm not going to go again.
Yeah, so if you don't know what Derek's talking about, the Patriots are back on top. They're in the Super Bowl again, somehow, some way, after winning 4 games last season.
Robert Kraft's a cheater.
Yeah, so, you know.
He's in on the fix.
It's good to be back. Only like the 10th Super Bowl appearance since the Dolphins made the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, we're still the most undefeated. We're the only undefeated team though still.
Yep.
So hey Tim, thanks for joining us, Tim.
Hey, we've made the playoffs. We just haven't won one in 25 years.
My fault.
Come on, buddy.
Yes, that's on me.
So sorry, Star Wars fan. We had to shift a little bit.
It's on topic.
Yeah.
It's Disney World.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right.
yeah, they're corrupt, just like the
Yeah.
Senate.
Exactly.
So in reference, I want to step back just a little bit, and since we are talking about Disney, when we get a new CEO for Disney, do you think that by the end of this year we'll know about this Hunt for Ben Solo thing? Do you think this will come to fruition and say, okay, at least there's rumors? No,
No, I think it's done.
Oh, I disagree.
Really?
I think the Hunt for Ben Solo, I think it will happen eventually, but I don't know about the end of this year. Yeah, when you have Adam Driver wanting to come back, when you have an Oscar-winning director of Soderbergh already attached, when you have a $3 million out for a script that's already finished, it's all ready to go except for the okay from Disney. That's all they needed, and they didn't get it. So again, the new CEO might hate the idea too, and that could be a problem as well. But now that it's been put into the public, you've seen Star Wars fans run with it. I think you already got the script. You already got the okay to bring back Ben Solo, and I personally want more Ben Solo. So
I do too. The reason I say I think it's done is with the shift that's going on in the parks and changing the timeline in Batuu.
Yeah,
they're
But they're
not as
still doing-
invested.
yeah, true, but they're still doing post-sequel stuff. We're still getting a trilogy post-sequels and Starfighter and all that.
Right. And I'm not saying I want it. I
Yeah.
do want it. I'm afraid it's done. And
Yeah.
this is one I would love to be wrong on.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're wrong.
Yeah, I
too.
think
I'm
Yeah.
wrong every day. I've been wrong a lot on this show, so don't worry. I've gotten like 3 wins for every 20 bad ones, so it's fine.
It's a great percentage.
Well, but I think that I think that I think it'll come to fruition, Mike. I agree with you. I think that because it's come into the public, because there's so much behind it right now, like and that's just not even besides what the other things you said were with Adam Driver and $3 million, an award-winning,
Yeah.
Director. So I think that once this sort of the dust settles a little bit, I think by the end of the year we'll have something or a sneak peek type of thing that will come out through Disney, obviously, or through Lucasfilm. But I think that we'll get something like that, and I think that with both of the new presidents coming in this year, I think we'll hear a little bit more, or I think we'll hear a lot more of some of the new things coming out. Like Taika Waititi's, his whole interview with his movie and stuff. So I think we'll get more stuff. But I think the Hunt for Ben Solo, I think that'll get pushed through because it's had such a good public statement. But you have, Adam Driver and these other, backing it. So I think that we will see something by the end of the year, and then obviously it's going to be a year and a half or 2 years before the movie comes out.
Yeah.
I hope
We'll
you're
just-
right. I
We'll
hope
just
you're
prove
right.
Derek wrong.
Please do.
We'll do it. We got this. To switch gears a little
In
bit
ref-
here.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. No, I was just going to say, to switch gears a little bit here.
No. I was gonna,
No, you go.
that's what I was going to do. I wanted to switch gears a little bit. So go ahead and say what you were going to say, because it's probably the same
Oh.
thing. Go ahead.
I was going to just talk about the Dave Filoni news. We were talking about Dave Filoni, so might as well bring it up. Today or yesterday, something about that, something like that. The news dropped that the Dave Filoni movie that was announced so many moons ago, that was, again, this is if the Mandalorian Grogu bombs. This is if the Mandalorian Grogu is not a successful movie. But if it does bomb, they will go back to Disney Plus, and the Dave Filoni rest of the Heir to the Empire story, this culmination movie, will be turned into a show. So I've been hearing sort of the alarm bells go off in the fandom, going, no, wait, but I don't believe it. Plain and simple, I don't believe it. I don't think the Mandalorian and Grogu is going to bomb at all, and I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening at all.
Hey, you remember my prediction.
And I know Ron thinks he's going to make $2 billion. So
Yeah. Well, and that it's funny that you say that, because that's what I was gonna bring up. If you guys think that, I think that if it does do well, I think this is gonna be a trilogy. But I also think that they have something up their sleeve where Dave has something that he's gonna bring to live action, because as everything that we have seen so far that has Dave's thumbprint on it, which has been pretty much everything because he's been the creative director. We see all these characters coming from Legends. We see these characters that he is, he's created coming up, and he's obviously, well versed in all of this stuff. So I think that we're going to see something from him like that. And I think it would be great to see a trilogy from the Mandalorian and Grogu, and then have Dave, do whatever movie he might do if it was going to be something different from Heir to the Empire, because I don't think we're not going to see, like we've talked about before, we're not going to see The Last Command. We're not going to see those 3 books come to fruition from canon or from Legends over to canon. Now there's some characters and we can do this and that, but the whole thing just can't fit into what Star Wars is now in canon. But I think that Dave will have something. They will have something up his sleeve, almost like an acolyte. Excuse me. That I'm not sure about. That is from the mind of Dave Filoni, and it'll be a live action series like Ahsoka.
I could see that. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a trilogy. I think this is all panic if the Mandalorian and Grogu fails, which I don't think it will. I mean, there's no sign saying that it will. There's literally nothing. 4 of the last 5 Star Wars movies have made $1 billion. The Mandalorian was their most successful show by far. Like, there's nothing that Grogu is everywhere. There's literally nothing that suggests this movie will be bad or bomb or anything of that sort. But this is the doomsday preppers. This is if this happens, if this is the worst thing that could possibly happen, then yeah, Dave Filoni's probably going to get relegated to Disney Plus, and that movie will be turned into a Disney Plus show. But I agree with you guys. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're getting a trilogy. I think that trilogy will be awesome, and I think it'll be Heir to the Empire, come to canon, and Thrawn and greatness, and maybe even some Luke, Leia, and Han, and just awesomeness all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be my thing. It's going to be interesting to see them, the 3 of them, just because you brought it up, back on the screen. I think it would be amazing. Again, I watched Solo again a couple weeks ago, and Adrian, whatever his name is, that played Han, Alden. I think he did a great job. He just didn't fill the Han, checklist for me. It was still a great movie. I loved it. One of my favorites. But I think that to bring them back, I like the deep fakes better than the recasting, where they look somewhat familiar and similar. And we've talked about this before too. All this AI stuff that's coming out, there's no reason that they can't bring these 3 characters to life, even with Carrie being gone, and Harrison being 900 years old, and Mark's, but I think that will be I think that would be amazing to bring them back, but they have to do it the right way, because if they don't, that is when I think if you brought the 3 of them back and you effed it up, that's going to be a huge hit to Lucas and Star Wars and Disney if you bring the 3 of them back and you don't do a good job with that. Because look at what happened with the sequels with just with Luke. I mean, Leia and Han, I mean, it is what it is with her. I think she did a great job in those. In Han, obviously, we didn't get much of him, but I think that you have to do it the right way for those 3, or Disney and Lucas and Star Wars are going to take a big hit.
I agree with you. I mean, the Solo movie is a good movie. I I thought Alden was great as Han. The only problem is it's a young Han. As soon as you get to older Han, it's Harrison Ford. And it's, to me, I'm always the team deepfake over recast. I know so many people are team recast because you can tell more story. I get that. But as soon as it doesn't look like the character, you've lost them. And Luke has been so great. And you got to look at it from Lucasfilm's perspective. They made Solo, and Solo bombed. Solo lost the money, so they're never going to do that again. They deep faked Tarkin in Rogue One and Leia in Rogue One. They deep faked Luke in The Mandalorian and in the Book of Boba Fett. And it worked. It worked great. People loved it. Luke showing up at the end of The Mandalorian season 2 was like the biggest thing ever. So they're not going to change their minds now. Go with what works. What didn't work was when we recasted Han Solo. What did work was when we deepfaked everybody. So keep deepfaking everybody. And
it's only getting better every single day. The fan movies that are coming out every week online are incredible.
Yeah. Could not agree more.
Well, and the one thing I will say with the recasting, and I'm looking forward to this, and I hope it comes to fruition too. But I think Glover did a freaking awesome job of a young Lando. That killed for me in the movies. I thought that was fantastic, and that's what sort of that's where it sort of drove the line for me, because he did such a great job, and he definitely pulled off a young Lando where, the other guy didn't for Han. And that was my, little glitch in that one. But I thought Donald Glover, so it's sort of a catch-22 for me. If you can recast someone like Donald Glover to play a Billy D. Williams and crush it and come back, and hopefully we get to see the story that they've written already, for a Lando movie or a Lando live action, and to put him in there again, I think would be amazing. And I don't think anybody's going to complain about that, because I don't think there was much complaint about him. That was one of the biggest pluses in that movie, that as much as everybody shit on it, they talked about how Glover did a fantastic job as Lando. So that's my exception there for the deep fake. Like, I'm with you, Mike. I want the deep fakes because they look good, but Glover did a great job. And if you could find someone that could do that, I almost think that and it's already done and gone, but that Timothy Chalamet, I think would have made a freaking awesome young Han Solo.
Yeah, I think he was probably too young at that point, but
yeah. But the way that he acts now and the acting that he's done, I thought that would be a great thing. And it's not going to come to fruition. I just put my 2 cents in, but the deep fakes are definitely the way to go, I think.
Well, and we do have to remember, of course, Bail Organa and all that. Like, I wasn't upset with how it turned out, but man, did we talk about that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Andor season 2 was great. No complaints. But if Bail Organa looks normal, I'd be okay with that too.
I agree. I think I probably still would have taken a deep fake.
Yeah, or just get Jimmy on set.
Yeah.
I know.
It wouldn't have been that long.
Yeah. He doesn't have like that big of a role either. Like,
right.
Crazy.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had to be there that long. Half a day of shooting, and he probably would have nailed it, and we would have been good to go.
Yep.
So
that's why I
want to talk.
There was something more to that, but
yeah.
Ahsoka season 2. Some of the new leaks that have come out. I know you talked about it yesterday, Mike. Do you want to start us off a little bit on some of your thoughts?
Oh, I would love to. The Ahsoka leaks, they just keep on coming, and they just keep on getting better. So the latest and greatest is from the Peridia side of things, because it's almost like you're getting leaks from different sides of the different universes, different galaxies. And this is from the Peridia galaxy. And I'm actually looking at it right now on my other screen here. There's a concept art image that was shown at Star Wars Celebration. So again, this is a leak, but it's a leak based off of a concept art image we've already seen. Confirmation. So this concept art image is Ahsoka and Sabine. Let me paint the picture. Ahsoka and Sabine, and they're walking by some sort of skeleton thing, but it's this massive, massive skeleton, and it looks like it's been there for a really, really long time. It's like deteriorating. So that was the concept art image that we got. Fast forward to today, we got a behind-the-scenes leaked image of a prop for Ahsoka Season 2 that was said giant skull. And to our surprise, it was not a bone skull. It was not a skull of a giant. It was not a skull of whatever. It was a metal, rusted droid head from a giant droid. And that is, again, backed by the giant droids from the other concept art images that we've gotten from Ahsoka Season 2 that will be on Peridia. These massive, massive droids, nothing like we've ever seen in Star Wars before, with these huge, sentient, human-looking droids. So the conclusion is, if there's one that's rusted this bad, deteriorating, and could possibly have been there for thousands of years, we might get an explanation in this second season about what happened on Peridia. How did it go from a kingdom of Night Sisters to a wasteland where all the Night Sisters are dead, and who killed them? Why are there Mortis God statues? Why are there deteriorating giant droid skulls? What is happening on Peridia?
Yeah, no, I think that's what the fun part about this is going to be, is to figure out what's going on with all of this stuff. And I think when up in Peridia, we don't have a story. There's really not a story that we can fall back on, so they can sort of do what they want at Peridia for the most part, I think. So I think that will be an interesting thing. Some of you guys are just joining me, I would have put those pictures up. Actually, I had some of them up there for today, but I don't have any electricity. I have my generator plugged into one light, so you guys can see me tonight. So I apologize for that and not being able to. But Mike, you did a great job of painting that picture very well. So, but yeah, I think the stuff that's coming out is just going to be so cool. And again, to go back from what we talked about at the beginning here, that these questions are going to get answered, I think. And I think we're going to get a lot of different things going on in Ahsoka Season 2. There's no other explanation but Abeloth, for a villain, or whatever you want to call her, or what she might be, unless they bring something new into this. And I heard you talking about this, I think it was yesterday, or maybe even on Tuesday. But there's no antagonist that we could bring in to Peridia that could go up against who's there, unless it's Abeloth, or it has to be someone new.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah. I mean, you're going up against Sabine, Ahsoka, Baylan Skoll, and Shin Hati. That's 4 lightsaber wielders, 2 of them former Jedi from the Jedi Order. Like, there's nobody that could beat the 4 of them in a 1-on-4, unless you're talking like some of the best, which is Abeloth.
Yeah. And that's the part where we don't have a lot of her information yet, at least not we do in canon. And I'm not a huge fan of her character in canon, but I think that you can bring some of those ideas in and tie that into the Mortis God somehow. Obviously, when we see Baylan Skoll at the end of Ahsoka Season 1, standing there on the father, and the other 2 are have fallen apart. But I think also is pretty cool when you see this deteriorating droid, because we saw the deteriorating statues as well. When at the end of Season 1. So obviously all of this stuff is going to tie together, and we're going to have 2 different stories going on at the same time. But I also think they're going to intertwine, obviously, and whether they come back at the end of the season or we get a Season 3, but somehow they're going to have to come back together where we get to see everybody, I think. But I also like your explanation where that's why we don't see Ahsoka, because she stays on Peridia and has to possibly keep Abeloth, under control, and that's why we don't get to see her anymore. But I think with the 2 different stories that are going to be going on in Peridia and in our universe or whatever you want to call it. I think those are going to be intertwining, but obviously also separate as well. But I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with a villain in this movie, especially with all these leaks that we're getting, for the time that this droid is deteriorating. It wasn't 3 years ago. It wasn't 10 years ago. You're probably looking at decades on top of decades. So,
well, to that too, my theory about this whole thing is the droid skull, all that is just, again, a plot device that can easily lead to an explanation of what happened here. When Ahsoka and Sabine stumble across this skull, they won't know. They'll have no idea, but it will lead to an explanation further down the line. Like in episode 1, they'll come across the skull, and then by episode 8, we'll have an explanation of what the hell happened. And my personal belief is there's no way Abeloth, if this is indeed Abeloth, there's no way that she gets freed, because she would absolutely destroy everybody, and she'd hitch her way on a Purgle to the other galaxy and absolutely destroy everybody there, which we know doesn't happen because, well, the sequels happen. So somehow she has to be contained. And if you're going to explain the most powerful being we've seen in the Star Wars galaxy to date, you're going to have to do that by showing how powerful she is. And you can't do that because you can't kill off Ahsoka, Sabine, Hu Yang, Shin Hati, and Bale and Skull all at the same time. So the only way you can do it is with a flashback to show her absolutely annihilate the entire planet. Show a thriving kingdom with these buildings everywhere and people and hundreds and thousands of people enjoying their lives. And then wasteland. She comes in, absolutely destroys all of them, kills them all. And then the Mortis gods have no choice but to banish her to some faraway land or to some different realm, so to speak, like Mortis is a different realm. And that would explain it. A flashback would show her true power and how powerful she really is without having to kill off Ahsoka and all the other great characters that are on Peridia.
Well, and do you think my thing... She's still considered legends, correct? So when they bring her into canon, they can switch it up a little bit if they need to. Maybe she's not as powerful, but it also what that reminds me of, and I've said this before, is Thor and Loki's sister. When she comes out, I mean, she's a badass. I mean, she's just, it's like, holy. I thought these two guys were pretty powerful, and she just takes them like toothpicks and just was like, okay, go away. So, but she gets contained. She gets defeated. So I think that obviously that is going to happen because, like you said, the sequels come out, and not everybody's dead. So, but it'll be interesting for that explanation. And I think to go back and show how powerful she was would be really cool, but I don't think that they'll give her the power like a Star Killer, because the same thing when you talk about not bringing Star Killer in, which I think is a great character. I would love to see a spin-off of that somewhere, but we can't get that because he's so powerful. And I think that's the same type of thing that they're going to do with Abeloth, but I think they're going to tone her powers down just a little bit, that she's still going to be able to destroy a bunch of stuff and have these powers, but there has to be something that the four of them are able to contain her, or something else on that planet that they use to join forces with to contain her again. Because I think she will, if they bring her into fruition, she's going to come out and she is going to do some sort of destruction, but then they have to contain her and possibly, that's where Ahsoka comes in and stays on Peridia to contain her, and we don't get to see her for the rest of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I think the explanation would be a Mortis type realm, because in the Clone Wars, when Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan go to Mortis, they go to a different realm. It's not the physical realm anymore. They go somewhere else, and it's out of space and time, because when they come back, they were only gone for a split second, even though it was multiple days to them. So if Abeloth is on a place like Mortis, she's prisoner there, then Ahsoka and the others can go to that place and stop her there. You could see her power there, but she doesn't escape. So like you could get a glimpse of what her power is, but she still doesn't escape the place that she is banished to. And I have to bring this up because Holly in the chat just came up with something I didn't even think of at all. Ahsoka can see the Force echoes now, much like Cal Kestis. Much like Cal Kestis, in season 1, Ahsoka is hearing those Force echoes of what happened when Sabine gets taken by Balin and the others on the Eye of Sion. So that would be a perfect explanation as to what happened here. Ahsoka goes up to this giant skull-looking thing of a droid and touches it and just gets the Force echo of what happened here. Here's the screams of people who are being killed by this crazy power in this droid. Like, that would be a really great way of explaining it as well. And you got to think about it too. These Night Sisters that were once a kingdom of Night Sisters, they worshipped the Mortis gods. They built statues of the Mortis gods. So at some point they were all friends. You know, they all looked up to each other. And if you go based off of the legend story for Abeloth, Abeloth was somebody who helped raise the son and the daughter of the Mortis gods. And then when she was getting older, they didn't want her to get older. So they went to the father and said, can we let her, become immortal? And he was like, nah. And she overheard the conversation, and then she goes and gets, powers. So if there's some canon version of that, she could be a Night Sister, and she could be, again, taking care of this father and son, daughter and son. And these people could worship these Mortis gods, making statues of them, and they're all happy until Abeloth goes and gets this crazy amount of power and destroys all of it.
Well, and I think that Jason is gonna come into play with this, where we saw how he could sense that Ahsoka was there. They looked, but he's like, she's there. I can sense it.
Yeah.
Is he gonna sense that, and is that gonna be the key of, like, maybe Ahsoka goes into this Mortis realm and he can hold her back, or maybe he's the key to get into it? I think he's going to be a huge role that we haven't really talked a ton about.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. And maybe he's more so important in the main galaxy because that's where he is. Like, he's helpful with the whole Dathomir stuff and Thrawn. But yeah, he has this connection to Ahsoka where he was the only one who could hear her. Well, obviously he's the only Force user there, but still, like, he has that ability. So that would be pretty cool. I like that. Jason is definitely not being talked about enough. He'll have some importance.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that he is going to be in the normal universe, and I think that's where we're going to see him. And he might be able to sense Ahsoka or hear her at some point throughout the season. But I think that with him and Ezra being there, they're at that point they're the only two Force sensitive people, correct? On that side of the normal universe. So I think that he will be a big factor in this, and we'll have to see what, but he doesn't really have anybody instructing him yet. So is that going to be Ezra helping him, a little bit to guide him in the right path, or is it going to just click in somehow and figure this stuff out?
Or with him not having someone instructing him, does he release Abeloth somehow?
That would be crazy. I think Ezra will kind of be his master just because, like, his dad was his master. It would be like this nice poetic thing. But to your point, Ron, yeah, there's not many Force users in the galaxy. Luke, of course, but I don't think Luke will be involved in this. Cal Kestis, but again, he's not involved yet. Asajj, but again, we don't even know if she's alive at this point. There's a bunch of question marks. All we do know is Ezra and Jason.
Yeah, and I think
what I'm kind of excited about is the reaction that Thrawn's gonna have to Jason, because Thrawn, of course, knew Kanan and Hera very well, and he's gonna be like, "You guys had a child together? What the heck?"
Yeah, what were you doing out there?
Yeah, and I think that's where we're gonna see something come to fruition with Jason, where that when he confronts Thrawn or Thrawn confronts Hera, and then and that could be a possible way to see where we go with Jason too. If Thrawn, like you said before, if Hera dies in this, and Jason loses his mother at a young age like that, okay, well, now maybe Jason turns to the dark side because he just gets so outraged with Thrawn, killing his mother. That would be an interesting twist as well. But but I think you're right. When someone dies, whether Thrawn kills Hera or somebody like Din Djarin, that's when we're going to have the rest of this Heir to the Empire, where everybody's going to join forces and come back and take down Thrawn, because obviously we don't see him in the prequels. So something has to happen to him before then.
Yeah, and actually, now that we mentioned Jason, it kind of seems like, and my hope and dream is we eventually get a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. They could be setting up a bunch of younglings or younger characters that will be at Luke's Jedi Temple, like Jason Syndulla, like the Skeleton Crew cast. Wim's got a lightsaber now. So they could be setting up some characters to be familiar faces when we do eventually get to Luke's Jedi Temple, not just Ben Solo.
And then Ben
I
kills
agree
them
with
all.
that.
Eventually.
Oh God.
I think it'll be interesting for that. I would love to see a Luke Temple, and like you're saying now, it's just made me think of it. I wonder if they're building that up to do something almost like a Skeleton Crew, but with the younger Jedi now, because you have Jason, you have Wim, you have Luke doing this whole Jedi Temple thing, along with some other Force sensitive, Broom Kid, things like that, where we have a couple kids that now use the Force. Does that turn into a show?
Yeah.
Because now we have 3 or 4 other kids that we can start a new trilogy, we can start a new characters for merchandise, but also again, some of these kids that are coming up now with the animation, and now as they get older and the animation, as much as we love it, but now they can go into live action with some of their heroes, like some of these people have with the sequels, some of these younger kids with the sequels that love them, and and Rey is their hero. I don't agree with that, but but that's okay, and
My hero's
everything's
Darth
been
Maul.
explained. Yeah.
Hey, that's my hero. Watch out. Hey, I already claimed him earlier in this episode. Even.
Sorry.
Yeah. Back off.
But I think that would be a cool way to lead into some of these, to have some characters that we already know, and we get to watch them, possibly, get trained, by Luke or possibly Ezra at the same time, because I think that would be a great thing for, like you said, with Kanan teaching Ezra and Ezra teaching Jason. That would be awesome. I think that would be such a cool. I mean, that just gives me goosebumps right now just to remember what's going on with Kanan, and for his son to be trained by Ezra as we get through, because like you said, I mean, Rebels is just such a good series, and the characters in that again that Dave has brought to fruition, these new characters that weren't in the original, that weren't in the prequels, and now you have these characters that are, I mean, cemented in Star Wars history.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many characters that don't even exist in movies that are main characters to so many of us.
Yeah. Well, and even for me, I mean, again, they weren't, none of these were around, 50 years ago, almost literally, but they're such good characters. And that's why I think Dave is going to do such a good job with being co-president, to continue what's going on with these things. Hopefully he doesn't get cold feet, with something like the Acolyte, because I think that if a couple people, don't like it, or it gets bashed, and all of a sudden, we're going to just discontinue season 2. I think season 2 of the Acolyte, I think actually would really do very well, because of so much of the negativity and the hate that went into it. If it came out with a season 2, people are just going to watch it and see what the freak is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rey starts a small temple and Grugo shows behind the class. Max
Grogu
always
comes
has some good
riding the
ones.
mythosaur.
Yeah, I don't think Grogu would. I don't think
Gro-
Grogu would start his own temple though.
No, he's just riding
No.
the mythosaur.
Yeah,
No.
he's just hanging out with the mythosaur.
He's like hanging like right on the little horn.
That'd be
Just
awesome.
riding around, having a good
Yeah.
time.
But again, it would a lot of that stuff would have to be answered because of the prequels and because of what happened at Luke's Jedi Temple. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they don't specifically say that everybody was killed that he was training. Correct, or am I wrong?
They say that a few of his Padawans escaped with Bensol or something like that. It's phrased really weird. And yeah, I mean, he kills everybody at the Jedi Temple. That doesn't mean that there weren't Jedi or weren't Padawans that were off planet that could have survived. Like, there's so many ways that we've seen people survive Order 66. The same could be said about Luke's Jedi Temple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not gonna try to even pronounce that name, but Mel. I definitely think that Mace Windu survives. And I would love to see something in that effect, whether it was an animated series or a live action. I think that would be badass to bring him back in somehow, and we get to see how he survived, especially with, again, the other people that have survived. Obviously Maul, that we're going to see in a month and a half or so. So I think that he definitely, as powerful as he is or was, he's definitely survived that. I just thought that was a cool little statement there.
Mace Windu is also my hero. Mike can't have him either.
That's okay. He's dead anyway.
I did pick a purple lightsaber. So
there you go. Yeah.
What else?
My hero is Droopy McCool.
Nope. There you go.
He's very helpful, isn't he?
Yeah. He plays like that weird looking
With
instrument
different things.
in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. Well, I think unless, do you guys got anything else? Again, I'm sorry for all the technical issues. Again,
No.
I'm here on a generator and no internet, and I know we've been spotty, but I think everybody pretty much across the U.S. Understands that it's been a crazy few days. So
yeah, it sucks. That's why I wasn't able to go. Yeah, that's why I wasn't able to go to Galaxy's Edge, because I had to come back early.
There you go.
Oh, because of the storm coming in.
Yeah, I had to fly back earlier. I was going to go on Saturday, and my flight wasn't leaving until like 8 at night, and I had to end up doing it 8 in the morning. So, yeah.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
Sad.
Well, before Ron signs up, before he does all that stuff, let's get a round of applause for Ron in the chat, please. I mean, to pull this off with zero electricity in his house is next to impossible. So round of applause to Ron in the chat, please.
Ron's my hero. You can't have him either.
Thank you.
Ron's my hero. No, that's insane. If my power was out, you guys would not be hearing from me. I would cancel the stream immediately. That's very impressive.
Man's dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I was able to do that, because when I was counting down 3 minutes to go, and I'm like, and Derek's not on here yet, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I hope all this stuff works out. I had it I'm on my phone right now because I couldn't do it with trying to get the hotspot. I used up all of my hotspot money, or not money, but all my hotspot gigs during the last few days, because I watched a season and a half of Mandalorian. So I get a text from Verizon that says, you will not have a hotspot until February 13th. And I'm like, oh my God.
No.
So, but anyways, thank you guys for both being here. Tomorrow, Mike, 2:00, a guy who loves Star Wars, will be back, I'm sure, with more new news in reference to all three of these new things that are coming out this year. Thank you guys, everybody that's been on here. Holly, thank you for coming on. Max, appreciate you being here as always. Papa Boz, let's see who else was on here. Brett and Tim and everybody. Thank you so much for you could be doing anything else, but it really is, it means a lot to me, and I know Derek and Mike for for you guys to be here and listen to us talk about Star Wars for 2 hours. I know you guys all love it too, but it really means a lot to come out here and listen for hours and hours. So may the force be with all of you. Thank you guys so much. And hopefully next week will be a little bit better. We'll have some electricity and some Wi-Fi, and we will see you guys then.